So the PS4 and the Xbox 720, or whatever they may be called in the future, is going to be quite interesting to see. Now, while I heard rumors about they're pretty much trying to eliminate the fact people using used discs and taking the essential use or the ownership out of the consumer's hand, as most people will honestly state and will stand by that fact. Honestly, as far as I'm concerned, the PS4, if they go through what they're planning to do, is going to be nothing more than a overly priced computer, or at least a single processing computer. And while it does have a lot of interesting ideas behind it, especially with the controller and some of the interface where it allows up to 15 minutes of gameplay that can be posted on the internet, which is a nice idea for the console, I would think it would save a lot of money for those people who want to do, gameplays or commentaries or whatever, playing in an essential game. Of course, probably going to put like a PS4 watermark in the thing for all we know, but that's pretty much what I heard all about that one. The Xbox 720, or whatever the heck they're going to call the darn thing, is going to be a little bit more annoying. Apparently, you'll be able to get a Blu-ray disc, which is a roughly 50 gigabyte capacity. And pretty much what they're going to be doing with that is finally upgrading to a Blu-ray disc. Herp-a-derp. And they're going to be dispensing it where you put the disc into the tray, you punch in a code, it installs all the content from that disc onto your hard drive, it makes the disc useless. Now again, these are both rumors from both consoles, exception to the controller having, on the PS4, having this little touch screen where you can change and swap things to make it comfortable. It's supposedly too going to be a DualShock 3. So, what do I initially think about both of these things? Well, at first when I initially heard it, the effect sort of is expired now in my mind, but I initially laughed for a good minute. Then I thought about it. While the PS4, again, it does sound a little bit more fine, I suppose, because I am not against DLC. I mean, you're part of the problem, as probably someone will tell me, or to me personally, but again, I am not a part of the problem if I am comfortable with both sense of fraction here. If I see a game that's remotely cheap, a game that, while it's not the best game in the world, and quite frankly, I will not give a tier less once I beat the game and complete it, I will never need it in my collection after that, that's fine. I'm willing to deal with that. It's just like me going to Netflix and paying about the same price I would pay for the deal or the DLC through Steam or anything else. Again, Steam isn't out to screw me over, so I don't initially care, right? So with the PS4, I think it's more in line going to try to compete with Valve's little rumored console or their console computer, where they want to do that whole, console, little compatible console there. Which again, PS4 isn't nearly as bad as the Xbox 720's idea of pretty much making someone pay like $60 for a Blu-ray disc full of content, while the Blu-ray disc is not an obsolete disc at all. It could fit a ton of content, so it's not my complaint with that fraction. However, eliminating the used game market for people is, I think, acidine and also very suicidal for the, quite frankly, for the sales of the initial consoles. Now, I, of course, can side with the developers who lose money every year from pirates, as well as people who, quite frankly, take out of the pocket or a fraction of the cost to buy these games and play them. I don't know. I mean, to me, the other fact to the 720 is quite silly and stupid as well, where you have to have a constant streaming connection to the with the console online. Now, while some people already use the Xbox 360 primarily to play competitive games or online games, that won't be a big deal, right? So that is not a big deal for those folks. I don't see the huge deal with that fact with them. However, for people who do not have an online internet connection, I see as it being a problem. And these folks, of course, are doing it the Nomad style, where they don't want no internet connection. They just want to play a damn game and just turn it off after that and say the game was shit because, they just played the single mediocre experience. So you're taking that experience out of some consumers' hands and pushing it on the people who can afford the decently stable internet connections, as well as, the metropolitan areas who have internet. So I could see a forecast of the Xbox 720 having a little bit of a backdraft, where both companies are going to backpedal with their innovations because, oh yes, if you guys thought the PlayStation Move was a waste of money, which I'm still going to get one anyway because it's going cheaper and cheaper, and there's a couple games I do own that are compatible with it, and I just want to have it for the sake of collecting one. However, they're supposedly going to be upgrading the PlayStation Eye camera to a Kinect-like camera. This again is all speculation, or confirmed speculation. I'm not 100% sure because I saw this information from a couple of those rumor people. So, I don't know. I mean, personally, I do not fret too much about the PS4's part. I mean, I'm not, again, against totally everything to do with DLC. I mean, there's some fractions, such as the DRM, which is, yes, absolutely acidine, limiting people to how many downloads and all that. Sure, I agree. However, I'm the type of guy that likes to go after the DRM-free games as well as, go after things that are affordable. So I'm a very cheap guy. If a DLC copy of the game's cheap, I want to play the game that badly, I'll simply grab it. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If I like the game truly that much, I will go buy a physical copy of the game just to have a collection copy of it. Past that, it's just the experience I'm really looking for when it comes to that, especially when it comes to modern games. Because most games are the same. If they do, however, appeal to me, you can't fret. I mean, that's all there is to it. And when it comes to the PS3 and the Xbox 360 nowadays, I could say this much. If you thought you disliked these two consoles now, I think you'd be a lot grateful for those two consoles when these new consoles come out, if they think they're going to firmly keep to this, pirate-free style element here, where they're going to be checking your console to make sure you have a legal copy of this said game, at least for the 720. And with the PS4, they're of course going to keep it a fine-tooth comb to make sure you're also doing the same, as I believe. But again, this is all following coattail because both consoles are going to try to compete with each other when it comes to this whole pirate-free philosophy, as well as this trying to remove the used game market away from their equation. So, I don't know. I mean, I complained and whined a little bit in this video about these two said elements. Personally, I cannot really care less about these two consoles right now. They're in the distant future. There could be a lot of things changed about these at the same time. It can be a big backdraft for both these companies. Both these companies can easily lose a lot of money from sales because a lot of people aren't going to stand for that whole not being able to purchase a pre-owned game. Because let's face it, people enjoy these consoles for a reason. They want to have an affordable experience with modern style gaming. They want to enjoy a game. They don't want to sit here and have to pay $60 for a game that they're stuck with, and then pretty much if they're on a budget with living and they use these games to trade into go and grab another game with that said price, again, they go in these planned trades and usually get games and for games they already played through and are not ever going to play again. So I mean, again, some people don't collect these games, so they just go and trade them in. That's pretty much how that is. And I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to see both sides of the equation here quite equally. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a big shot in the foot for both companies, but as far as probably going to boost the sales for the Wii U because of this whole silly crap. So what do you guys think of both of these besides the whole, well, I don't like new-gen gaming? Because if you don't like new-gen gaming, then you don't. However, when it comes to this idea, I personally think it's silly for at least making a disc utterly useless when it has so much premise to help run a game at full speed. But again, I digress. I pull my panties up and I'm going to walk out of this video. So thanking you guys so much for watching and take care.